Ford versus Ferrari is a movie by James Mangold. It stars Christian Bale, Matt Damon, Tracy Letts, Jon Bernal, and a few others, Josh Lucas, in this movie about car racing. Now, the biggest thing to take away is this movie is 2.5 hours long, but it did not feel like 2.5 hours. This movie is sort of, shouldn't be a homage to classic filmmaking, but that's what it feels like. It's just a simple story about men trying to build a really fast car in order to beat another fast car. You might think that might be a little bit simplistic, but the movie has really developed characters. At the forefront is Carroll. He is a man who he won the Le Mans, and he no longer does that because of a bad heart. So he runs a sort of car dealership business until he's approached by Ayakaka, who is one of the Ford executives. Ford is trying to do an imagery haul. When they try to buy Ferrari, it doesn't work. They decide to, after they get insulted by Ferrari, Henry Ford II decides to build a team to create a faster racing car that can beat Ferrari at Le Mans. So in order to do that, Ayakaka recruits Carroll. Carroll recruits Miles. Ken Miles is a hot-headed British driver who's probably our only chance of doing it. So they all team up to make a supercar. So this is a sports movie of sorts, but it's also a drama film. But in between the intense driving scenes, they also have quieter character moments. And little things like that make a movie. Like there's a scene where Ken is working on a car overnight, and his wife comes over and she makes him a packed lunch and some beers, and it just shows how strong that relationship is in that marriage. And small scenes like that. The movie has great production values. It's a period piece, but it's a movie that has good dialogue. It's a film that pretty much just gives you the bare bones of filmmaking. You got intense driving scenes, developed characters, an interesting story, good pacing, satisfying movie ending. It's a movie that doesn't get made very often. It's just a movie about people trying to do things with really developed characters. You don't even have to be a big fan of cars. I took my dad to this movie, and he's a big car nut, but I'm not a big car nut, and it was still enjoyable and very engrossing. So if you think, oh, I'm not into cars or racing, you can still watch this movie. It's a very accessible film. So Ford versus Ferrari is a very strong film, one of the nicest surprises of the year. So I give Ford versus Ferrari an 8.5 out of 10.